Hey guys, it is our final Bible truth of the year. Can you believe it? We have made it through 34 lessons. I am so proud of each and every one of you, and I know that you've been working really hard all year long, and it's been really difficult for me and maybe for you guys too with this distance learning for our last quarter of the year here. But this week we are going to continue learning about Paul. Remember Paul, who was in prison with Silas, and the earthquake and all of that. So we are going to be figuring out and learning more about what happened to Paul. So boys and girls, throughout the rest of Paul's life, God continued to show his power and rescue Paul from difficult situations. And here is today's Bible truth. Paul traveled everywhere, telling many people about the good news of Jesus. Sometimes he got in trouble from people who didn't want him to tell others about Jesus. Paul had been arrested and put in chains as a prisoner on a big ship, along with soldiers and many other prisoners. They were going to a country on the other side of a big sea. It would take days and days and days to sail across the large body of water. Soon the ship was far out on the sea. Paul and the other people on the ship couldn't see land anywhere. All they could see was the water around them, and all they could hear was the splish, splash of the little waves hitting against the sides of the ship. Then one day the wind began to blow harder and harder. The waves splashed higher and higher. The waves rocked the ship up and down from side to side. Splash! Splash! The waves splashed high in the air and crashed down onto the ship. The waves almost knocked the ship over on its side. Big, dark clouds covered the sky. The lightning flashed and the thunder boomed. Rain came pouring down. It was very dark. No one could see the stars at night or the sun during the day. Everyone on the ship was afraid. They thought they were going to drown. But God sent an angel to Paul. The angel told Paul that God would keep everyone on the ship safe. Paul cared for the people on the ship. He called the people together. He said, "Don't be afraid. No one will be hurt. Last night, God sent an angel to tell me that God will take care of all of us. Cheer up. I know that God will do what he says he is going to do." Paul trusted God and urged the others to trust God too. Day after day, the wind kept blowing the ship harder and harder. Early one morning, the sailors saw land. They got ready to sail to the beach, but the big, strong waves pushed the ship into an area of sand away from the beach and just under the water. Crash! The ship broke apart into little pieces. All the people jumped into the water. Some people started swimming. Other people grabbed pieces of the broken ship and floated to the beach. Every person landed on the little island called Malta. They were safe. God had kept his promise. He had taken care of everyone on the ship. Paul trusted God, listened to God, did as God said. As a result, God saved all the people from destruction. So boys and girls, after Paul and Silas left Philippi, they continued to travel and tell people about Jesus. Later, Paul returned to Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, some Jewish leaders wanted to hurt Paul. He was put in prison again. More than 40 Jewish men promised not to eat until they killed Paul. But Paul's nephew told the commander of the soldiers about the plan, and the Roman soldiers protected Paul. They took him to a different prison far from Jerusalem. And God had promised Paul that he would tell about Jesus in the city of Rome. And after a long time in prison, Paul was finally sent to Rome. And that's when our Bible truth takes up. So he's on this ship being sent to Rome. And then, as we found out today, there was a shipwreck, and they landed on the island of Malta. So Paul spent a lot of time talking and listening to God, so he would recognize that the angel was giving him a message from God. The angel told Paul that everyone on board the ship, all 276 people, would be safe. But the storm frightened some people very much. But God is never wrong. Even though the people on the ship did not believe Paul's message, they were very happy when God rescued them all. All right, guys, 4 questions. Let's see if we can do it. Number 1, why was Paul on the ship? That's right, he was being taken to Rome as a prisoner. Number 2, why were the people on the ship afraid? Because there was a huge storm. Why was Paul not afraid? Because an angel told Paul that God would keep everyone safe. And lastly, question 4, what happened when the ship broke into pieces? People swam or grabbed pieces of wood and floated safely to the shore. Well, this week we're going to find out what happened to all the people on the island of Malta. But on today's Bible Truth paper, you are going to color Paul's ship and then draw a picture of yourself in a scary situation. And at the bottom, you are going to write Jesus on the lines, because Jesus was with Paul in the middle of that storm. And we can trust Jesus in the middle of our scary and difficult situations.